Amanda Knox is once again on trial in Italy. It's a case that could remove the final remaining criminal conviction from her legal record. And it has been a long road for Knox. She was convicted in 2009, along with her then boyfriend, of killing her 21-year-old roommate 2 years earlier. Those convictions were eventually overturned, then reinstated, but then again overturned in a series of trials over the ensuing years. Now, Knox is hoping to clear one final legal hurdle. It's a slander charge against her for wrongly accusing a bar owner of the killing. So let's welcome in attorney and legal analyst Misty Marris. Misty, great to see you again. So kind of explain what Knox is hoping to achieve with this latest trial and why.
Yeah, because this is 20 years later. Who would have thought we'd be still talking about this case? But it really just keeps coming back. So here's what happened. She's been completely exonerated of the murder charges that related to her roommate. So that piece is over. But this defamation piece, this is a little different under Italian law than in the United States because it can be charged criminally. In the United States, it's civil only. So she was charged with defamation for saying that this bar owner was involved in the murder. Her defense to that was that she was under duress. She said that during a, listen to this, 53-hour interrogation, which she said included physical abuse. She was so exhausted and that she didn't really speak the language and she did not have an interpreter nor a lawyer during that time. She recanted shortly after, but she was ultimately convicted of defamation and sentenced to 3 years. So at this point, a human rights court in 2019 overturned that, said there was just an immense amount of problems with that interrogation that were violative of human rights, and now she's getting a new trial. So really, Nicole, this is to clear her name. The maximum amount of jail time for a defamation criminal case is 3 years. She already served 4 for the murder and the defamation. She served them concurrently, so that piece is done. This would be, there could be a monetary component for the bar owner who was accused. That's possible, but it really seems that her goal would be to just clear her name of this whole thing in its entirety and shine light on some of those human rights violations that occurred back in 2007.
Yeah, and you know, one could certainly understand why she would want to clear her name, and especially when you think, you know, 53-hour interrogation. At this point, again, we're nearly 20 years after the fact. So even if she is found not guilty, Misty, is it likely to persuade so many people who have really long since made up their minds and may not want to change them?
Well, you're absolutely right about that. The court of public opinion, very different than the court of law. And when I think back to this time period in 2007, every magazine, whether it was People, Time Magazine, Foxy Noxy, all over the headlines every single day covering this case soup to nuts. And think about this road that she's gone down to ultimately being exonerated. She was only ultimately exonerated of the murders, 2015. That's still a significant period of time. To your point, there are people who are very, very committed to thinking that she is guilty. And I don't know if that's going to change their mind. But for the other camp of people, for those that are on the fence, or for those that are really hard advocates for her in the public sphere, this is that last piece that still remains, that on the books is a guilty conviction that now she has the chance to contest. And I was actually shocked, Nicole, there's still a lot of podcasts about this case.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, what do you think it is about this case that has fascinated people for close to 2 decades at this point?
I think it's just they're college students. They're there, abroad. It's such a glamorous, wonderful thing to have an opportunity to do. And just this vicious murder that occurs in the house. And there was a whole element of allegations of sexual impropriety and all of this stuff with Amanda Knox and her boyfriend. It was just so salacious. I think everybody just gravitated to it. And there were still questions. Yeah. It wasn't a cut and dry case. It was still very, very a difficult case in the courtroom.
All right. Well, Misty Marris, we certainly appreciate your insight as always. Thank you.
Thank you.